Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining me again in one of these videos of the journeys that we're taking together to get to know the Qatari culture and heritage throughout the pages of its literature. Today we will talk about a special book because it's a compilation of a lot of writings of the studies of travelers that visited the region and the Arabic Peninsula throughout hundreds of years. The book is called Folklore in Travel Literature, and the author is Professor Ahmad Abdul Rahim Nasser. So in this book we have different authors that, as I said, they talk about what they saw in their travels here in the Gulf area. One of these people and one of these writers, and the one that we will talk about today, is called Charles Didier. Charles Didier was a Swiss writer, poet, and traveler. Charles Didier was born in Geneva in 1805 and passed away in Paris at the age of 58 in 1864. So in his writings regarding the travels that he made in the Gulf area, he found four subjects, the most specific and the most important, that gained his attention in comparison of what he was used to know and his culture, and what gained the most attention for him when he visited specifically the city of Jeddah. So first of all, we will talk about the traditional architecture where he describes the houses of Jeddah as solidly built and multi-story with oblique angle doors and built of stone that have large windows without glass, overlooking the street, and have beautifully carved wood frames. In his writing, he makes a specific part about these carved wood frames because he was engaged with the beautiful artwork that was made for the architecture of the homes, and he thought that it was good to show the people what was done here in the Arabian Gulf, and he makes a specific writing about this decoration of the houses. Second, he was really impressed about the traditional industries, specifically about the ships or boats that were used here to travel or even to do commerce. He was amazed with the sambuk, which is the boat. He explains how it was made with fine wood called sag, and that this wood was imported from India. In tradition to the captain, 10 sailors worked on it, and there is also a boy who works to serve them and serve the passengers at the same time, and how they were learning in that way hospitality. The sandbook carried from 15 to 60 tons of goods, so it was a very important element of the tradition in commerce in those times. Third, one of the habits and beliefs that really made Charles Didier to impress himself, and he was even writing, he did a big writing about it, was Mashali habit. So Didier mentions the customs of Jeddah, and it's called specifically Mashali. As the children were born inside Jeddah, like residents of the Mecca, they are exposed to what is called Mashali, and it's a deep wound that is done on the faces of the children on the 40th day of their birth. 3 of them on each cheek and 2 on each temple. And the trace of the resulting wound remains on the face of these children, but it gives them a distinguished characteristic and he realized and he found out that these characteristics made other people or other Muslim people to deeply respect these children who had these marks on their face. Regarding the cemeteries, he was also very fascinated on how the tombs here had no external decoration, and how they were only decorated, let's say, with trees or with nature, and the specific connection with nature and the death traditions here. Last but not least, he has a special chapter where he speaks about singing and music, which was one of the characteristics that fascinated him the most. He describes specifically the darbuka, or the tabla as he called it, as the main instrument and indispensable in all celebration. It can be heard everywhere and all occasion, and specifically when friends and relatives meet, or when someone comes from travel. So he made a specific plan in his writing of how it was made, how was the sound of it, and how you could recreate this instrument. So we can see that he was very into music as well. Thank you so much for joining me. See you soon, and shukran jazilan.